Yeah, I mean, speaking of shopping, Buddle, all this talk about him going to Birmingham, it doesn't really look like that's going to work out. My question is your thoughts in general, Steve, about him being picked up by a Premiership club in general.
It's a little surprising. I mean, he's not that young. I'd be surprised if he ends up there. Mm-hmm. Plus, you got to understand with a lot of these MLS guys too, and we saw it with Donovan on a larger scale. A lot of these guys are more important to MLS, have more value to MLS than they do to these other clubs. So MLS is going to value them and price them much higher than any team abroad is going to be willing to pay. Right. I mean, Landon Donovan is the face of MLS for the most part, the American face of MLS, and that means a lot to the league. Mm-hmm. Whereas in England, he's just another very good player. They don't need him in England to sell tickets. In the U.S., in MLS, they do. Buddle doesn't have the profile of Donovan, but he's a goal scorer, and he's done well, and I think he belongs in MLS. Does he want to go to Europe? It seems like it. Does he want to play, second level in England? I don't know. At this point of his life, at this point of his career,
Michael Findley does.
Robbie Findley?
Or Robbie Findley. Oh,
you've been making a mistake all week.
I know, on my basketball brain, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Findley's at a level where, he might be able to succeed just because of his athletic ability. He's not a Premier League player, and,
right.
He didn't end up there.
Yeah, he should do fine at Nottingham Forest. I mean, for me, Edson Buddle has always been kind of Eddie Johnson on steroids, and maybe that's an unfair depiction, but it does seem, with all the word out there, that maybe L.A. thinks that Edson's going to stay somewhere in Europe because they seem to be sniffing around Luca Toni, but of course we all know that a lot of these big-name players are using MLS as a sort of bait and switch. They're using it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, and it's been like that for a number of years now. The problem is that, European clubs know MLS doesn't have a lot of money to offer. Right. So, they can call the bluff on these players, say, oh, okay, you want to go to MLS and make $200,000, then go for it. $200,000 is not much in the European market. So, I mean, MLS provides a little bit of a leverage for some of these guys, but I mean, the reality is that MLS can't compete financially for high caliber players from Europe.
Right.
Is it just me, or does it seem like everybody's linked with LA?
Yeah.
I mean, it's the high profile team, and Beckham and Donovan are there. So no, you're right. You don't see a lot of Sporting Kansas City numbers out there.
Well, let's just jump forward real quick before we head on to MLS, sort of a preview MLS next season. But I want to ask one last question. And I'm a big Brad Guzan fan, have been for a while. He's now on loan to Hull City. Several names have popped up as possible replacements for Friedel because change seems to be imminent there at Aston Villa. Rangers keeper Alan McGregor and Borussia Dortmund's Robin Weidenfeller are both been mentioned as replacements there, but Guzan's name is not even really been in the picture much. What's going on there, in your opinion, at Aston Villa? Why isn't Brad Guzan's name mentioned when they're talking about the future of goalkeeping at Aston Villa?
I don't know. I guess he just hasn't shown in training, perhaps, that he's ready for it. Maybe they feel like they need to give him this loan and get him some regular playing time before they consider such a decision. Yeah. I really don't know.
Well, his first two matches so far with Hull have been pretty solid from what I've read, at least.
I mean, he's a good goalkeeper. Yeah. He's a solid goalkeeper. There's no doubt. I mean, he's the number 2 guy and for the U.S. and behind Howard, and Bradley won't hesitate to go to Guzan in a big game if Howard's injured or isn't available because of club commitment. So, the guy's got a great future. He's still young, and he's playing in England, and he's in the big picture, he's going to be fine.